inventions, and innovations.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long 7 weeks, and people have been waiting for this week in specific. It's the finals, ladies and gentlemen, of the Coalition League's summer split. And tonight, we do have EXNL versus 7men. Pardon the delay here. EXNL was trying to field an E substitute, and it has actually, it was approved, but it looks like they might be changing up the E sub. We're gonna have to see uh, what's gonna go on here. As you can see on stream right now, they are looking at another ESUB who would fit the criteria a little bit better. It's a little messy right now, but we are on stream. We will be talking while we do it. I'm Random Minion Caster, and alongside me for game one here, it's gonna be Aderant Luna. Luna, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing all right. Just trying my best to help figure out this situation. Like, come on, guys, it's finals. You gotta have your ducks in a row by now, bruh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on here with both of these teams. I'm actually surprised because they've not really had much trouble up to this point. That being said, EXNL did have to completely remake their roster in the middle of the season here. So I guess the roster they eventually settled on wasn't the most stable, and that's why we're starting to see problems here right now.
I guess it's very possible. I don't know. I mean, granted, from what I can recall, since they revamped their roster, they've been playing rather well, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of surprising that I don't know, maybe someone had an emergency or something. I mean, I would hope not, but emergencies unfortunately do happen. So
Okay, and it looks like they are going to be bringing in Yokti Bolt. I believe he's now known as MG Bolt right now, to come in and play for them instead as an E substitute here. So, yeah, Yokti Bolt or MG Bolt, somebody whom we know, we've seen before. He did play for MG Nitro, who were the first seed in the Noxus division in the regular season, was just knocked out actually in the semifinals by 7men here. So it will be a bit of a rematch between 7men and Bolt trying to come back and get a bit of vengeance here.
I mean, you take what you can get, right?
For sure. I mean, who wouldn't want another chance to sort of come back and get another shot at that crown here, at that title? So we'll have to see how that goes. But that does raise a question of who's going to go where, because from what I understand, it's EXNL's mid laner who's missing today, Glub Glub. So, I mean, Bolt is an ADC player, and yeah, it's actually now they've got two ADC players, so who's actually going to go mid?
Um, that's a good question. Uh, it, it could be either or. Uh, so long as they just confirm like this is their intended order once they get in their lobby, and everything will be good. I mean, hell, maybe we'll see a lack of AP champions on the side of 7men, and just see like double ADC comps or something like that.
Yeah, definitely very, very possible. I mean, Corki is an ADC that can easily go mid. We've seen Tristana mid played as well in the past as an ADC. Ezreal can still go into the mid lane as well. So definitely there are options here for the side of EXNL in terms of trying to decide who's going to go into that mid lane here. And uh, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. And they are losing bans, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, who are watching. The delay is costing EXNL bans right now. So they will, as of right now, with an ESUB and with another ban lost, they will be down to, I believe it's 2 bans at this current time.
Well, it's a minimum of 2 bans for eSub during playoffs.
Right. So that plus the other brings them down to that's 3 lost bans, so total of 2 bans. They do get to decide where they want to put it, but the issue is that they are starting to run out of bans here.
Yeah.
We do see MG Boat in the lobby now, so we're getting closer and closer to starting. 7 Men does get a bit of time here to also check and look up MG Boat's champion pool. I mean, they should be fairly familiar with Boat here. After all, they did just play MG Nitro last week, so probably won't have to adjust their drafts too much. The only question is just who's going where at this point in time.
Right. Which, I mean, again, like I was saying, since there's more of a chance of potentially going like a double ADC comp, it kind of makes you wonder what EXNL is going to be thinking comp wise as well. Like, how are they going to answer that? Like, are they just going to go with more tanky options, or I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
Yeah, and they have confirmed it will be MG Boat going into the mid lane here. It will be Bears as ADC and MG Boat as the mid laner. And for Boat here, I'm just looking over his champion pool. He does play some champions which could go mid. He does play Annie in the mid lane. He plays Kill as well. Not really known to be much of a mid lane champ in the current meta, but it used to be a mid lane champ. So can still go there, can still sort of skill up. Plays Malphite as well. I'm pretty sure that's a top lane Malphite, but then again, AP Malphite, we saw it happen. I believe it's the Silver Division with Roar Yordos pulling it off to Duero in the mid lane. So, hey, maybe MG Boat could do that.
It's very possible. And if because I don't have his OP.GG up right now, but if Boat has Lucian in his pool, he could easily take Lucian mid too.
Yeah, for sure. Lucian, another ADC mid laner we didn't touch on, but does fit quite well into that mid lane right now. And it will actually be EXNL down to 1 ban right now as the time's ticking down, but they have finally confirmed. So hopefully we should see the pro draft start sometime soon here. And yeah, I mean, that is only for this game 1 here. Into games 2 through 5, they will still lose the 2 bans for the E-subs, but they won't lose more bans due to the lost time here. So it will just really be game 1. And in a best of 5, 1 game doesn't really change too much here. It's a lot of times sort of a feeling out game where both teams try and see how the other team has prepared during their off week.
Right, but on the other hand, it's just like only having 1 ban. That's a yikes. Like it's like, is it really? Because you're at such a huge disadvantage, that can be very demoralizing. So it'll be interesting to see how. Well, it'll be interesting to see what one champion they decided to ban out and how they play against EXNL just being able to go free reign.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, we are finally into the pro draft here. It's taken us forever and a day, but we're finally here. It's going to be EXNL on the blue side here with Chef Boy 69 in the top lane. In the jungle, it's going to be just a game. Mid lane E substitute. It's going to be MG Boat for ADC position. It's going to be Bears and Opti as their support on the red side. It's going to be 7 men here with Bright in Bush, previously top lane Sucks in that top lane. Teeman in the jungle. Alpals in the mid lane. Mookstar and Y as the ADC, and it's going to be the Ascendant as support once again. EXNL losing their bans right now, and for 7 men, their first ban is going to be Fizz. An interesting choice because I don't know if MG Boat actually plays Fizz.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't get it. I mean, unless they're just like taking it out as a precaution just in case. I mean, if they're doing it as like a safety ban in case MG Boat has some sleeper champs that we don't know about that he doesn't normally play. I don't know.
Yeah, and the second ban coming out of them is going to be that Kha'Zix here. Kha'Zix did get a small buff to his damage as well, so a little bit more scary. It looks like they're just banning out assassins for now, and EXNL actually going to hold their single ban for phase 2 here, and we're going to see the Graves final ban coming out from 7 men. So 2 junglers and a mid laner. EXNL going to first pick that Vi because or they're hovering it right now. Teemin, that is the permaban here against Teemin. We did see it get through in the games against MG Nitro, the last 2 games, and we saw how devastating Teemin could be on that Vi in the early and mid game. So I do think it would be a good decision from EXNL if they do decide to first pick this, just to deny it from Teemin here. So, instead it's going to be the Volibear.
Rip. Well, I was going to say something that EXNL could try to do is to help alleviate the fact that they don't have bans except for the one ban, that they could just target pick all of the champions that they normally would have just banned out and just play them for themselves.
that was a possibility, but it'd be really rough for them to try and do that. And I mean, they're playing around with their picks right now. They're hovering the Talia, which is another ban that gets thrown a lot at 7 men because of Alpals in that mid lane. And for 7 men, of course, they insta lock in the Vi there for Teemin. It's finally available. Why not take it? They pick the Ashe as well, who Mookstar and Y likes to default to. He did play a lot of Ezreal last week, but previous to last week, prior to that, he does favor Ashe a lot, so they do pick that Ashe for him right away. For EXNL, they're going to grab up the Taric here, and now they're trying to decide what they're going to go with for their third and final pick of phase 1, and they're going to go with a Master Yi.
Okay. Sure. Interesting. Wait, there's a Taric Master Yi in the finals.
Are we going to see the funnel strat?
Oh man. Okay. Let's see if it, and I mean 7 men, they already have Vi in the jungle, so they're probably not going to pick up something like a Rammus to help counter Yi. Oh man.
Nope, they've locked in the Mordekaiser, and that will be most likely for Brighton Bush in that top lane. We've seen him take over games with that Mordekaiser there, so most likely will go top. And yeah, so EXNL right now with that Volibear probably going to go to Chef Boy in that top lane. He's the one who plays it the most, and we do see the Master Yi locked in for just a game now. So yeah, the question now is Taric going to be mid, or is he going to go support here for Opti? And with the second round of ban, 7 men going with the Lulu ban here. So I guess they're expecting a Taric mid, or do they just want to make sure that they don't keep giving more and more supports here to that scaling jungler Master Yi?
That's very possible. I gotta say, I do like the Lulu ban just because, I mean, yeah, they do have Taric picked for EXNL, but like you said, that can very well be a mid Taric, especially with the Yi being picked up for the funnel strat potentially. And Ashe Lulu is a disgustingly aggressive lane to go against.
Sure, and we are now seeing the Yuumi ban come out from 7 men, so they're very focused on trying to shut down that sort of protect the hyper carry composition here. And Opti does play Taric, so that could very well still be a support Taric, and they might have just baited out a whole bunch of support bans here. And EXNL finally gets to use their ban. They've held it to the very, very last ban here, so the question is, who are they actually going to ban? It will probably be either mid laner or support here, and considering with the support pool...
Wait.
Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Is it actually...
Can we get some not like this in the chat? Oh man.
Yeah, well, they are opting to not ban. They actually chose to not ban. EXNL, this is their choice. This is not enforced. They do have one ban, and they opted not to use it. So they are going with open bans here. You got to respect them at least, that they've got the balls to do this. If you've already lost 4, what's the difference between 4 and 5 at this point? And 7 men going with the Leona here for the Ascendant. And it's going to be a Caitlyn pickup for Bears on the side of EXNL.
I don't know. It's a weird flex to me. I'm just like, that one ban right there, that could have been that Leona ban. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and this game one I think is going to be a bit of a tosser here in terms of what's going to happen. And a Vayne lock-in for EXNL?
I called that. I called that shit. They're going double ADC.
Could very well be. We have seen MG Bolt play Vayne before in the bot lane to quite great effect here, and we have seen Vayne show up in the top lane. I believe it was Epic Gamer on in Hype Esports in the silver division who played it in the solo lane. So why not into the mid lane? Could work there, but it's gonna be that Yasuo here for El Pals in that mid lane. We saw him bust it out before to rather mixed results. But into the Vayne, I actually think it's going to work quite well. Into the Vayne, very short range champion. It's going to put him in range of Yasuo's engage.
Oh yeah, that and I mean with the mobility that Yasuo has over Vayne, Yasuo can get onto Vayne very easily. So if it is Vayne mid, Boat will definitely have to be wise to save his condemns for whenever Yasuo is trying to engage on him.
For sure, in the mid lane, it's a bit rougher in terms of trying to land that condemn. It's a very open lane. There's not a ton of walls because it's sort of exposed into the river here. So we'll have to see how that one goes for MG Boat here. And he is a sort of last minute E substitute slotted in. Has not had any time whatsoever to work with the team of EXNL here. So you can expect him to be a little unfamiliar. And we're going to have to see how this composition works because EXNL's composition, now that is highly unorthodox. It's not going to be that funnel Taric like we had feared. It is going to be a support Taric, and we have seen Taric work quite well here in the Coalition League as a support. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for that. 7 men, a more standard sort of composition here. They don't have a ton of knockups for El Pals, but they've got enough AoE CC, I think, to set him up a little bit so that he can land his own sort of 5-man knockup as well. And again, 7 men standard composition. Standard composition means standard performance. So in terms of this, Luna, what do you think of the bans, missing bans aside, what are your thoughts here on the draft's compositions and what this is going to mean for game one here?
EXNL is going to have to play very carefully because aside from a little bit of damage from Taric and some of the split damage options from Volibear, they're mostly AD. They're mostly physical damage. So realistically, 7 men just needs to stack armor, and they're going to be sitting pretty.
Definitely, that all their major carries here do primarily physical damage. Even Volibear does a lot of physical damage, about 50-50 roughly, if he doesn't build straight AP here. So yeah, 7 men will have the advantage scaling up a bit towards the mid to late game where they can just start stacking armor. Unfortunately, no Rammus for them, but
Right.
I mean, we actually did see Team pull out Rammus last week in I believe it was the game they lost there. So it was either game one or game two when they lost. So he does have it in his pocket, but that they just wanted the buy first of all, and like he's won I think all his games on buy. To be fair, so definitely a worthwhile decision. And so despite having despite having the hyper carries of Master Yi and Vayne, they'll still lose if they go to the late game here for EXNL?
Um, that's actually really hard to say when you think about it because you have the Taric ult and the Volibear ult to get really good dives in team fights. So if the hyper carries are able to get online, I mean, it doesn't take much for Yi to get online, and then depending on where Yi takes those leads to split it amongst his team. Like ideally, I would think that you want to get Vayne online first, just because the faster a Vayne can get online with her passive on the Silver Bolts, I mean that's a lot of damage that can come out really fast. So I don't know, although it's a bit unorthodox, I think they do have a chance so long as they can find their leads. Uh, the Yasuo pick, I can understand the pick to try to stop the Vayne, but it's also a little bit weird with their comp just because they don't have a lot of ways to really get his ult to go off. I mean, there's the pull from Mordekaiser, and I think he can also ult off of Vi potentially. But aside from that, he's going to be relying on himself to be able to get his ult to trigger. That being said, you do have the safety of an Ash Leo for really strong engage, or just Vi being able to go in for strong engage too.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're thinking EXNL needs to sort of get leads early and snowball them, or else 7 men will have the advantage with their very, very strong engage come the mid game here. And the other thing about EXNL too is we haven't seen them for the last 2 weeks. They had a bye in the quarterfinals. In the semifinals, there are no records of their games here either. I mean, there's the post-match history, and it looked pretty one-sided the way they took out DOV Nightfall, but we can't really tell how that happened here. So EXNL, a bit of an enigma wrapped in a riddle here, coming into the finals versus 7 men as well.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how they play, especially having to use the E-sub.
Yeah, so I guess even if we had seen them last week, it might not help as much. And they are now still picking their champions here. It's taking a while because they have to wait out the timer for the missing bans here. And I don't know if this is just a mind game here, if they're potentially just baiting us. But the Caitlyn being locked in by MG boat here we might see Caitlyn into the mid lane instead.
That's I don't know about that one, Chief. I think that's, well, in a way it makes sense because Tark does pair better with Vayne. But then the Caitlyn matchup in Yasuo is just, I mean, in my opinion, hot garbage. Like, yeah, you have the range advantage, but it doesn't take much for Yasuo to come online early. Like, he can come online with just Berserker Greaves. Whereas Caitlyn really needs to be able to get some attack speed and a little bit of damage.
Yeah, and speaking of that, this is patch 10.15 here. Just hit the rift this patch. Lilia was released onto the map. It is disabled for this week for the finals here of Coalition League. There was a small list of buffs to Caitlyn here, to the movement speed and attack damage. Very, very minor, but there was a small buff. Maybe it'll help in the mid lane. We'll have to see. And nope, they switched at the last second, so it is going to be Vayne in the mid lane as we expected.
Yeah.
MG boat again, more. We've seen him more on the Vayne, I think, than the Caitlyn here. So yeah, would make a lot more sense. But it is going to, like we said before, make him a lot easier for Yasuo to engage because of Vayne's very, very short range.
Right. And surprisingly enough, although those buffs on Caitlyn are very minor, so far from what I've seen in game, they've actually helped out quite a bit. The bonus attack damage, I mean, it's just 2 at starting, but that doesn't help as much. But the extra movement speed has it's really come in clutch from what I've been able to witness.
For sure, helping to zone, helping to space out the distance between aggressors and the Caitlyn. We'll have to see if it works against Muxar on the Ashe though, because you might have a tiny buff to your movement speed, but Ashe has a huge debuff to your movement speed waiting in her passive there. And with that, we are going to head to a quick intermission break while we wait out the spec delay here. So stick around, we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
And now, it's available for everyone.
Everybody from the front to the back now. Bring it back to the switch it. Yeah. Make the building collapse, drop the bomb, bomb, bomb. Bring it like that.
Just listen. That's the way computers talk to each other.
On the outside looking in, not knowing where I've been, traveling through light and sound. I wanna know the real world to verify reality. I just wanna be found. I just wanna be found. I just wanna be found.
And we're on to the Rift. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for. Pause as soon as we get on to the Rift here. Not the best start we're having to the Noxus Division Finals here.
That's right, folks. The moment you've been waiting for 7 weeks. Get in the game and straight pause. Let's go.
Yeah,
All
this
right,
is,
that's
I think,
all our time, folks. We'll
I
see you
think
next
that's one
time.
of the roughest finals we've ever seen, actually. In any league,
man.
I think. And we are finally on pause. It looks like somebody just went away for a quick second there, but they are now back onto Rift. Everybody's on. Looking like EXNL spreading out. They're going to be on the blue side. 7 men on the red side. We see pings coming down, but it doesn't look like they might be going for the invade. They are pretty spread out here, so looking like it's just a defensive start for both teams.
Right. Now, if a team was to go for an invade, I would definitely think it would be 7 men. You have the slows from Ash to be able to set up a good shield of Daybreak from Leona. I mean, that's just like textbook. Just pick someone out, and that could be an easy kill.
For sure, and unless they flash away, they're guaranteed to just get caught out here. But for now, both teams starting standard here. EXNL definitely not wanting to pick anything weird. They've already had a big enough disadvantage, losing pretty much all their bans here. So they're coming into this one. Now, Luna, you did mention that you're thinking EXNL needs to sort of start getting the snowball going in the early game here so that they don't get run over in the mid game. Where do you think we should be looking? Do you think it's going to be just the game in the jungle who has to be the one to do that? Or is there a particular lane you're looking at to try and keep EXNL in the game here?
I think it'll be easiest out of the jungle just because of how strong a Master Yi can get. If we're talking lanes, Vayne does really well into the mid game. And she kind of does fall off a little bit in late game, but they have the Caitlyn to help make up for it. So honestly, I think they're going to be able to transition from now to late game really easily, as long as they play right.
Okay, so we'll keep our eyes on this mid lane here, where we do see MG Boat and Alpels going at it. And we'll have to see how this sort of ADC into a melee mid laner matchup ends up working out here. And both junglers did start at their respective blue buffs, so they will not be meeting up for their first ganks most likely. Just the game trying to power farm as quick as he can in the jungle here. And we do see Teeman now grabbing the Gromp, and with how he normally plays, we could very well see an early gank come out of him. He is already level 3 on this Vi here.
Yeah, like level 3 Vi gank is fairly standard. I would be surprised if Teeman didn't gank, honestly.
Yeah, it looks like he's sniffing around the mid lane, but MG Bolt is getting pushed back a little bit, so Teemin can't find the opportunity, the window to sort of close in there and find the kill. He's going to go back out instead, go back to farming his jungle onto the wolf. So surprisingly, no early action from Team in this game. I think it's the first time that's ever happened here, regardless of which champion he played. And instead, everybody back to farming.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It makes me wonder if they'll just try to set something up bot, just to try to get their bot lane snowballing. Because if you can get an Ashe Leona online very early, the faster an Ashe can get online is bad enough as it is. But when you have someone super aggressive like Leona that's able to get ahead as well, it's a bad time.
For sure, and the Leona-Ashe combination known to be one of the scariest level 6 combinations here. Between the Solar Flare and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, they can lock down a single target for an extremely disturbing amount of time here. So if they can hit level 6, that would be great for them earlier than the opponents here. Now Teemin finally gone up here, did grab the bot side scuttle, now grabbing the top side scuttle as well. But again, EXNL shoved under the turret. Chef Boy is not very pushed out. It's not really going to be a gank opportunity here, and Teemin just not having really any window to find a gank into any of the lanes.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's unfortunate, but on the other hand, it's not the worst, just because that gives them options to power farm.
Ooh, and Alpal is diving under the turret a little bit, over-aggressive, I think, taking a turret shot to boot there. Did poke down MG Bolt a little, and it looked like he actually clicked so quickly, he cancelled his auto a couple of times there onto MG Bolt. Hopefully that won't come back to bite him later in lane there.
Yeah, MG Bolt playing surprisingly well into the Yasuo.
Yeah, he's doing perfectly fine. Great, farming really well under turret here. Has not really missed too much CS. He's just the slightest bit ahead here of Alpals, which is great for him. And as long as he can freeze the wave in that position, he should be fairly safe from any sort of alternate or external, pardon me, lane pressures such as Teemin or random roams.
Right. Which also, if Boat is able to keep that freeze there, that'll set up a good gank opportunity for Just the Game.
And Just the Game right now still just power farming as hard as he can. He has managed to clear one camp more than Teemin. It's just a very minor thing, but does put him up just a bit of a level here while Teemin's still looking for ganks. And EXNL has done a great job just warding out here. MG Bolt going to turn the corner. He has to be careful here. Will spot out Teemin on the ward. And Teemin again can't find a gank. Bot lane was warded. They saw him. They backed off. He goes to mid lane. Ward there as well. MG Bolt backs off. And I'm not sure Teemin's gonna be able to find the gank he's looking for, and he keeps wasting time like this. He will fall behind Just the Game.
Yeah, it's that is definitely one downside to having the over-aggressive jungle plays. It's like sometimes your lanes are just doing so well that you're just like, hey guys, I want to get in there, but I can't because you're too far up, or there's just nothing I can go in on. So it's like when that happens, you just gotta keep farming, go for your camps.
Definitely. While everybody else in the Rift seems to benefit right now, Chef Boy struggling a little bit in that top lane. You can see he's already down 20 CS here in the matchup between Volbear and Mordekaiser. He is the only one on his team really sort of suffering from trying to freeze in front of his turret, and so we might see Brightenbush take over the game on this Mordekaiser. Like we said in Champions Select, he's done it before. Very, very skilled at playing the Mordekaiser matchups, and Mordekaisers that get ahead are incredibly difficult to gank as well.
Right. And I feel like a lot of that is just because of Mordekaiser having a bit more range on his abilities, whereas all of Volibear's are melee. So he's able to get a lot of free poke onto Chef Boy.
And EXNL making a good adaptive move here, seeing that the bot lane of 7-man has back. They pick themselves up the first Drake, and it will be the Cloud Drake for them here. So increased cooldown reduction. It's not necessarily the biggest on a lot of their champions, but will certainly help Just the Game here get his ultimate off that much more frequently, as well as Opti, especially with that Cosmic Radiance. That's the big team fight ultimate, and we are seeing a bit of a brawl here in the mid lane. MG Bolt sidestepping the Tornado will be fine. No last breath to come out. And he's going to be perfectly safe in the mid lane. And in fact, might be looking for a back sometime soon. He already has quite a bit of gold in his pocket here.
Right, like mid lane's been fairly...
Oh, and there's that last breath we were talking about. But Alpal has no damage. He's really only got the Duran's Blade, and now he's fighting with MG Bolt. Bolt tumbling past the wind wall, but he's going to get taken low. The Ignite taking down, but Alpal has to be careful. One more turret shot would have done him in. He can't find the kill. That's his Ignite down, and he's going to go back to base. Traded with MG Bolt's barrier here.
Yeah, it was very well played by both. If Elpaz had just a little bit more damage, he would have been fine, which he gets that Berserk Greaves and a cloak, like, just off the bat, so next time he goes in like that, it's going to be good old.
And bot lane, we do see the teleport coming from Bright in Bush. He managed to find the flank, and they're now going to turn onto Opti. Muxtar hitting 6, and they're applying the slows. The trap comes out as well. Bear's instant cleansing. He's going to be able to get out things just fine. The headshot comes across. Muxtar in a change of situations here. He's going to be the one tanking the headshot for his support here. The Ascendant would have been fine, but doesn't matter. Everybody's surviving. The teleport does manage to find first blood for 7-man in the bot lane here.
Yeah, it was a very good teleport. It was, I mean, you can't really say much about it. It's just like, they had the advantage. They hit level 6 first, got the teleport in. Good play.
Yeah, they didn't even need the Solar Flare from the Ascendant. That only came out later as the Ascendant leveled up after, I believe, Opti had already gone down there. And meanwhile, Just the Game, playing the macro game, instantly ran over, picked up Herald as well. Teeman was actually in the area, but was not able to stop the Herald take. So that's both major neutral objectives right now, taken by EXNL here. And Alpal is tanking up turret shots again. This one might cost him. He flashes away, but Bolt's going to chase. He's going to hunt him down. And that's going to be a kill in the mid lane from MG Bolt, the E substitute, who shoehorned his pick into the mid lane here.
Yeah, it was very clean. Like, he's been able to get around those wind walls almost as soon as they come up, and with him answering in items with also getting Berserker Greaves and getting a Scepter, he's got that lifesteal and a little bit of extra damage over Yasuo. On top of the fact that he's got a Doran Shield, so he's already taking reduced damage as it is.
Yeah, and that start definitely worked out really, really well for him for now. And Alpal did just buy, so all he's going to be able to pick up on this death is just a dagger here. Will not be that big a pickup for him. And we look over across the MG Bolt, he got a recurve bow instead, so a much, much better attack speed item. And we'll have to see how this mid lane continues to go. So far, no jungle pressure from either team, really. The only gank we saw was that teleport gank from Bright and Bush into the bot lane. And Chef Boy didn't manage to get a teleport advantage either, because he already used his to get back into lane.
Right. And now the issue with that is I'm not sure if Bright and Bush is the one that you would want to get that kill. I mean, yeah, the bot lane both got the assists. You might be looking for a gank here.
Yeah, Just the Game hovering on the side, but he has to be careful. There's a lot of CC. Both the Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well as the Solar Flare are now available for this bot lane here. And Just the Game, after hovering for a while, is going to back out. The Spider Senses here from 7-man's bot lanes on point as they back out just as that's happening. Just the Game wasting a lot of time right now, dithering, trying to decide whether to go for the bot lane or not. His Rid buff should be spawning in about 18 seconds here, so not quite up yet. Now they spotted Teeman going for the mid lane. He's going to walk right into Just the Game here. He is a level down. It's the 1v1 of the junglers. Assault and Battery comes across. Is it going to be enough? Nope, the flash comes out instead, but it's going to be matched instantly by just a game. Hitshot comes up, will not find anything. A beautiful Alpha Strike to dodge out the stun. Cosmic Radiance comes out. Can they find it? Yes, it does come down in time. The exhaust is there, but the Zenith Blade as well. Mooks are able to finish him off there. And now MG Boat has to be careful. He's caught out a little bit. Will be able to go backwards towards his minion. That's both junglers going down a 1-for-1. And it's going to be 7 men getting a small bit of a gold lead off that tiny bit of a brawl. And Mountain Drake coming up, but no jungler to take it down.
Yeah, that was a very good answer by both teams.
For sure, the knock up here onto MG Boat here. Alpal's diving once again. The bear is already up. He's going to go down to the turret shot. Alpal's, I think, taking more damage from the turrets this game than any other source. I think that was, what, the 5th turret shot we've seen him take this game? And it's only 13 minutes into the game right now.
5th or more. Like, I think he took like 4 or 5 shots there just in himself. And had like 2 or 3 earlier, so I don't know, man.
For sure. That despite the bad dive there from Alpal, 7 men do manage to pick themselves up a Drake as well. It's going to be the Mountain Drake. And interestingly, Shelly dropped into the mid lane there by just the game. It accomplishes absolutely nothing. I'm not sure if you're trying to ward, or not ward, pardon me, but to sweep the area, I think, and accidentally dropped Shelly, because that was a wasted neutral objective. And at the end of that, both teams sitting extremely even right now in terms of gold, in terms of dragon buffs, and in terms of kills.
Yeah, it's like it's a relatively even game. EXNL, they have a kill lead, whereas 7 men they have a little bit of a CS lead. So I mean, it's right now it's definitely anyone's game.
For sure, and last time we took a look at this top lane, Chef Boy was down about 20 CS, being bullied out here by Brighton Bush. But now that we look back up top, all that roaming that Brighton Bush has done has allowed Chef Boy to catch back up. He got some plates as well, so when you look at the gold, they're pretty much even here. And really, in all the lanes, pretty much, they're fairly even. Just that mid lane, the largest discrepancy, and even then, it's only 600 gold. It's not showing that much, other than just the build path where Alpals is just sitting on the Zeal, when MG Bolt already has the Bilgewater Cutlass as well as the recurve bow. But that's just a build path issue.
Right. So,
come out. Never mind, it doesn't land.
Rip. Good try, good try. Looks like might be something going on over at the blue buff here.
Up top, it looks like Chef Boy brawling a little bit with Bright and Bush. Teeman was in the area, and now they'll have to back out as MG Boat and Just Game are coming in. They were spotted by Alphal's bot lane. A fight breaks out. Cosmic Radiance comes up, but it's too little, too late to save Opti. Bears goes invincible, but he's not got enough damage to trade back for now. And 7 men's bot lane managed to pick up another kill. Mooks running this one in here. The cleanse coming up from Bears, but it doesn't matter. The slows can just be reapplied. He's going to flash away. Will remain safe for now, but that's all the summoners blown for Bears, and he's going to be taken really, really low. Will have to go back to base, and that's going to be his turret taking a pounding. Thankfully for him, we are past the mark where the turrets give plating gold, so no gold lost off the plating here from the alone time they're going to get. Topside, another fight breaks out here. It's going to be 7 men pick up the Herald, and just the game gets smashed in by Brighton Bush. The Death Realm doing the job, and now MG Boat has to be careful. He is into the middle of 3. Do they have any more CC? He flashes over the wall. Teeman, does he have the Vault Breaker available? Yes, he does, but he's not in range. Will back out. MG Boat going to survive. His summoner's completely blown here, and they lose 2 in the top lane, 1 in the bot lane. 7 men starting to come back a little bit. Alpals, as always, taking a victory turret shot from that mid lane turret once again.
Man, he just loves that turret.
Apparently, I mean, we should really have a counter going for how many turret shots he's taking. If anybody in the chat happen to know that, I'd be more than happy if you could let us know how many shots he's actually taken now that we've caught on camera, not to mention the shots he might have taken off camera here. And after that brawl, 7 men just getting the smallest of leads, about 1,500 at 16 minutes. Not a huge amount, but still a nice little nest egg for themselves.
Right. And a very interesting thing that's been happening lately is this Mana Moon build on Ashe has been really popular, and it's it puts in some work.
For sure, a fully stacked mana immune, the Mirror Mana, one of the most efficient AD items in the game. That's even without considering the mana it gives, which ADCs such as Ashe love to get. We are going to see Shelly being dropped into the bot lane. They're looking for the first turret here. The top lane is brawling, but they're too tanky. I don't expect to see a kill go down here. Instead, Shelly going to charge. They probably didn't need it, but they do get the charge off. That will be first turret going to 7 men. Just the game hovering in the area. He was spotted out though, and Shelly not going to be able to get much more for now. 7 men just looking for the small but safe gains.
Well, I mean, that's still much more than what EXNL was able to get off of their Rift Herald, so that's definitely the best way you can get any usage out of it right now.
That's true, and as that first turret goes down here, we are now going to be formally entering the mid game here, where 7 men's composition with all their engages is really going to start coming online. Team in and the Ascendant there waiting in the bush, Opti rounding the corner, but they don't have enough damage. Mookstar was not with them there, so will not ultimately go in for this sort of ambush here. Opti going to get out just safe. Alpel is taking the silver bolts, and that chunks him for a significant amount already. The Blade of the Ruined King doing work for MG Boat here, and now they're looking for MG Boat, and Shattered Crystal Arrow lands. No cleanse for him. The Assault and Battery going to come across to finish him off. Cosmic Radiance now coming in for Opti, Just a Game, and Bears. And Just a Game looking for the kill. He gets CC'd back all the way to death here. Now it is going to be Bears getting split off, getting taken down. No cleanse for him this time. The knockup lands onto Opti, but he was stunned up, so Alpal's not able to follow up. And now Mookstar taking a page from Alpal's book. He's going to tank up 2 turret shots, walk onto a trap here, and they are going to be able to get themselves, though, at least the second Drake of the game, for themselves. For me, third Drake of the game overall. It's going to be the first Ocean Drake going to 7 men here.
Yeah, with Ocean Drake. With Ocean Soul being on the table, that's huge for either team. Arguably, Ocean Soul being the most efficient Dragon Soul stats-wise.
Yeah, for sure. So it will be a nice one for them to pick up. And it will... The Soul itself, outside of the laning phase and sieging situations, generally not necessarily the strongest, but topside, Bright Bush and Chef Boy fighting, we do see them trading here. Bright Bush going to flash away. He's not going to want to continue trading this. I was wondering if he was just going to drag Chef Boy into the death realm, but looks like not going to do that for now. And he's just going to disengage, look to play a bit safer. Doesn't want to give his bounty over here.
Yeah, it's definitely a good call. You know, if you have a bounty and you know you can avoid giving it to someone who desperately needs it, it's very respectable just to be like, I'm just going to bow out and make sure that they don't get any unnecessary leads.
And we are seeing bounties on several members of 7 men here, so despite having themselves about a 4,000 gold lead, that could very quickly close here if they do end up losing a bunch of their bounties. Now Just a Game has to be careful. Vi sort of the counter here to Master Yi, and you can see the burst coming down there. The Sheen and the Warrior enchant just doing a ton of work. 100-0 on to Just a Game. And this Master Yi pick not working out too well for EXNL right now.
Yeah,
The Ascendant landing the Zenith Blade. He doesn't quite go under turret. The stun going to come out. It's going to be chained onto the trap here, and he's going to lose about half his health, but will be able to disengage. And that's going to buy enough time for Bright Bush and Team In to take their first turret in that top side there. And that's another outer turret down. Only the mid lane outer turret still standing here for the side of EXNL.
Right. And right now, Mookstar is playing insanely well. Already having a Runens, and he just got the fully upgraded Muramana.
Yeah, that's already doing a ton of work here for them. So we can see how much work he's been doing in these fights here, especially, and Mooks are able to just distance really well with no real gap close for now. Just the Game and Chef Boy have not been able to get onto them. Opti getting caught here. The slow is being applied. He will be able to flash to safety, but he is low, and they might just have to give up on this turret here. Oh, a point blank Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out from Mookstar. It's going to secure the kill, and the last outer turret here for EXNL. The claw comes scooping out, doesn't quite find anybody, but Chef Boy has to be careful. He's getting just absolutely decimated by the damage here. Teeman coming in for the assault and battery. Can they fight him? Yes, they can, because that was enough for the last breath. And that's going to be just a game popping, as well as Bears there. Both of them dead. It's going to only be Boat alive. He does manage to pick Teeman up on the back of that fight. Has to be careful, the 1v4. It's a ballsy move. They could turn this here. And as the Ascendant taking a lot of damage, he's kind of low, but they will continue pushing. They do get themselves the inner turret, and they will most likely have to start backing off soon as Opti is back up. Bears coming up in about 5 seconds. They cannot take the inhibitor turret at all.
Either way, it's still a very good siege. She's got 2 turrets for 1 kill, essentially, and they pick up 4 kills for themselves, so I mean, it was very well played by 7men.
Yeah, it's looking like they're starting to snowball that lead, and this was something that we did note about a lot of the Noxus teams here. The Noxus teams generally don't mess around when they start getting a lead. They know how to close out games. 40-minute game is rare here in the Noxus division. That being said, the pace of this game was extremely slow in the beginning. We are now at the 23-minute mark here. Baron has spawned, and we'll have to see if teams do decide to go for it. 7men have grown their lead now to about a 7,000 gold lead, almost double of what it was just 5 minutes ago here, and they are poised to just let it grow even further.
That is true, but EXNL does have that mastery, and while he's having a rough time right now, it only takes like 1 double or triple kill for Yi to just come online out of nowhere.
For sure, especially if that triple kill lands onto Brightenbush, Teeman, and Mookstar. That would be an additional 850 gold in bounty, not to mention the base kill gold there of 900. So would definitely put him in a very, very nice spot. But for now, it looks like 7men just waiting for this Ocean Drake. They want to get themselves the Ocean Soul. While I did say Ocean Drake, not necessarily that efficient outside of laning phase in this year's season, the Ocean Soul is a whole different beast together here. The Soul is absolutely a huge deal and can give you a huge advantage in fights. Brightenbush teleporting to the top side. I'm not sure why he did that when it looks like he was going back for the Dragon instead. It looks like maybe they're just checking out the Baron. That Drake is going to go over the way of 7men, and it looks like they might be setting up for Baron as well.
I mean, yeah, that's it. I agree that was a bit of a weird teleport. Because now you don't have it for later if you need it. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But I do like the idea of setting up Baron Vision. Ooh.
And it looks like hunting season has started, and they are hunting big game barrier as Chef Boy does find onto Mookstar. Not going to be able to do it. They don't quite manage to position himself to dodge the hit shot behind the wind wall there, but that is the catch they were looking for. And that means they now have a numbers advantage. They're going to go straight for Baron. And I have no doubt that EXNL knew that that it is happening, but they have no vision. You can see their vision right now. It's basically non-existent in that top side. And Nasher just gets absolutely shredded here between the Leandries, the Triforce, and just the sheer amount of damage that the Mirror Mana fully completed is putting out for Mookstar here. They instantly shred down the Baron, and that's now 7men looking to try and break open the base here of EXNL. MG Boat not going back to base. He's so far trying to push that ball lane, trying to get themselves at least 1 turret here potentially, but that will most likely spell the doom of this inhibitor turret here.
Right. And like, even if EXNL had vision on the Baron, they were in no way, shape, or form, any way in a possible scenario that they could have contested.
Ooh, and the scoop is good. They catch Opti, and just a game, and Opti's going to get shredded just a game shortly after, as the knockup from Teeman is good. Last breath comes across. Point blank enchanted crystal arrow once again, but this time to stop the engage. They do manage to pick themselves up, all 4 defending the base, and now MG Bolt's back, but it's too little too late. Once again, he's not there. And the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out again. I guess that wasn't it the last time, and I missaw. The cleanse comes out immediately, will keep him safe, but it just buys him a split second more, and 7men continue attacking up turret shots. That's another 4 on screen, 5 as Brightenbush takes the 5th one here. But they have the Baron buff, they've got minions, they've got an ace in their pocket as well, and that's going to be the game here. 7men taking game 1 of this best of 5 in 26.5 minutes here.
Yeah, 7men there. They're just in a whole other form right now. 3 of their team members went perfect game. 3 of them did not die at all that game. They played extremely well.
Yeah, a great game from the side of 7men here. And we have to keep in mind, though, EXNL did lose a crap ton of their bans as well. So definitely not EXNL's best form here. So while it's not great for EXNL, they certainly can bounce back in game 2 of the series here. And like you said, 7men just putting on a clinic, and you can see the damage charts here. Mooks are generally not known to be the highest damage carry in their division, but he's put up great numbers this game. 14,600. He was dominating his lane with the Ascendant here against Bears and Opti. So though he might not usually be the first person you think of when you're thinking carries on 7men, he certainly was the main carry here in game 1. On the other hand, you look at Alpels on the Yasuo pick, it really didn't work out for him. He's 8,897, and if we take a quick look here, he ended the game, what was that, 2-2 and 7 here. Not the best end game score necessarily for Alpels.
Yeah, Alpels had a surprisingly rough time against the Vayne early on. So it'll be interesting to see how 7men change up their bans to try to keep a little bit more of a leash on Boat early if they feel like they need to. But yeah, 7men, they just played really well. And that's not to say that EXNL's comp was a bad comp. Like, yes, it is lacking some magic damage. But at the end of the day, on paper, it's still a pretty decent comp. They just weren't really in a good position to be able to execute it well.
Yeah, as you said, execution was the unfortunate issue here for the side of EXNL. And again, with their bans coming back, they will still lose 2 bans for their eSub, but they'll at least have 3 here in their future games. I assume we won't see these sort of comfort picks coming out for 7men, because really all these champions were pretty much comfort picks. Even that Yasuo for Alpels, we don't see it a ton, but it is still one that he's very, very comfortable with. And so, Luna, looking at game 2, what do you think EXNL needs to do to sort of get ready for or to turn the tides here in game 2?
So definitely make use of all your bans. Like, I know, like, they lost 4 this game, but even the 1 ban could have been, like, you could have took that Leona off the table. The Leona set up so much for 7men. So that is definitely something they could have done. So yeah, just make use of your bans, and just play a little bit safer, I guess, because there's just a lot of times where people would just get caught out.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that works out in game 2. If they can fix that sort of that tendency to get caught out here. With that, we are going to head into a quick intermission break while we set up for game 2 here. So stick around, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes after we're set up.
Switch it.